How have we ended up here again? What is up, people, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Freedom's Flame Warbond in Helldivers 2. Let's get all the boring stuff out of the way. First, looking at the price of the items we are reviewing. On page 1, the SG451 Cookout cost 20 medals and the I-09 Heatseeker armor cost 38 medals. On page 2, the FLAM-66 Torcher cost 40 medals and the I-102 Draconaut armor cost 100 medals. And then on page 3, the P72 Crisper cost 45 medals and the Booster Firebomb Hell Pods cost 60 medals. Moving on to stats, the Cookout has 320 damage, a capacity of 16, recoil of 100 and a fire rate of 80, with its weapon traits being light armor penetrating, rounds reload and incendiary. The Torcher has 250 damage, a capacity of 80 and a recoil of 3, with its weapon traits being medium armor penetrating and incendiary. And the Crisper has the same weapon stats as the Torcher in terms of damage and recoil, but with a capacity of 30 and a one-handed weapon trait. The Heatseeker armor set has the standard light armor stats with the inflammable armor passive, which provides a 75% damage resistance to fire, allowing the bearer to rest assured in their inflammability. And then the Draconaut armor set has the usual medium armor stats with the same armor passive I just mentioned. Quickly going over the booster's description, it lines all hell pods with volatile incendiaries that detonate upon impact, igniting any units in the vicinity of the drop site. And finally, taking a closer look at weapons, the Cookout has 60 shells and holds 16 at a time with no additional weapon options. The Torcher has 6 canisters and each one holds 80 rounds, if you can call them that, with no additional weapon options. And the Crisper has 4 canisters with each one holding 30 rounds and it too has no additional weapon options. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the review. First up is the Cookout, which is an incendiary variant of the SG Punisher with less damage and recoil but the same capacity and fire rate. For pros, Stagger is a massive one, it's quite significant and makes it great on the bug front. It reminds me of the Pummeler with the ability to hold off and kill multiple stalkers or commanders at the same time, and when you add in the incendiary weapon trait which deals damage over time, you are literally cooking. Also, side note, the name is a pro in itself. But back to the incendiary effect, it also makes it that slight bit more effective at taking out shriekers in the sky, which is always a plus, and the rounds reload trait is nice, being able to reload a couple of shells and then continue on. But looking at the cons, the ammo for me is a downside along with the reload time. It can feel like you're spending a lot of your time either looking for ammo or reloading, especially if you're going from empty to full, and this on a higher difficulty is not ideal. And the other con is the light armor penetrating, which really is a pain when you're against warriors and bile spewers, for example, because the incendiary effect, as nice as it is not prominent enough to get the job done quickly. Overall though, it's a solid weapon against the bugs if you want to run and gun with its stagger and DOT, but it does struggle with its ammo capacity and light armor pen. Moving on to the Torcher, this is surprisingly solid when compared to the flamethrower stratagem. The difference in them both going from full to empty, as well as the range, is negligible. The flamethrower stratagem obviously does more damage, but that's to be expected, and this is honestly one of the biggest pros of the Torcher, which is if you're someone who loves using the flamethrower, you now have a primary version which is arguably around the same level, and it comes with 6 canisters, so it's pretty good on ammo and has medium armor pen, which is what you want to hear. The cons are what you would expect from a flamethrower weapon. It's only effective at closer range, which means you have to put yourself in harm's way, and you also put your teammates and once again yourself in danger just through general use. And the big one is the change Arrowhead made to flamethrower weapons, which essentially means the flames don't go in and around armor like they used to. This was a very stupid decision to make a few days before releasing a full fire themed Warbond, but at the time of me recording this video, they have rectified that mistake by returning flamethrower weapons to their state pre-escalation of freedom, with that change coming into effect on the 17th of September. This will make the Torcher and the Crisper so much more effective against armored targets. And our last weapon is the Crisper. For pros, its damage is the same as a Torcher, so it can go through light armored enemies super quick, and if you're trying to live out some version of the flamethrower fantasy but don't want to take a stratagem or even a primary, you can reserve that role for the Crisper. It's one-handed, so you're able to run and leave a stream of flames behind you, softening up and killing enemies as you make your escape. For cons, the ammo is a big one. You have 4 canisters but they last for an extremely short amount of time, so this is really a last ditch weapon, and as much as running while lighting up bugs behind you sounds great, it can be extremely janky, with the flames flying in all directions as you try and aim, which results in you either missing your target, setting yourself on fire, or both. But it's still a cool addition to the secondary weapons nonetheless. Next on our list is the armors. We have the passive Inflammable, which provides a 75% resistance to fire, which makes a massive difference when using the Torcher, Crisper, and any of the flame related weaponry in the game, such as mines, grenades, napalm airstrikes, and the flamethrower. You can run through flames if needed, and when you do, you won't be left with no health or one hit unless you're dilly-dallying, and you will have the opportunity to stim and keep fighting. It's also useful on planets with the fire tornado effect, as these no longer mean instant death or stim depletion if you come across them. In terms of the design of the armors, I love them, from the Warbond to the Superstar. My one gripe is what do Arrowhead have against giving us a proper red cape. When Democratic Detonation came out, we got the Demolition Specialist armor set. Looks amazing, shit cape that doesn't match. We get the Heatseeker armor set, top tier visually, look at the cape, muck. Who thought this is red and black, let's throw in olive green. Leave it at black and red or just red and make it match the set please. Firebomb Hellpods booster is next. This is a mean booster. I would not expect it to be in a 4-man squad under any circumstances other than trolling, and that's about it. Although it's surprisingly good when you need to take out chargers and Bile Titans, it still doesn't justify its use or make up for the fact that it's team kill central. And last of all, cosmetics or miscellaneous. The title is funny, the emote is elite, and the poses are pretty good too. The safety orange pattern is okay, but in my opinion they shouldn't be in the Warbonds at all. It makes it seem like they're filler instead of their own cool little thing, and it would be much better if there were challenges that released alongside the Warbonds but outside of them, and we could go back to the extra weapons and armors that we originally had. But yeah, that's my review. Overall, it's a pretty good Warbond, mainly hampered by Arrowhead's pre-nerf of the flame weapons, which as I said earlier they have now rectified. Not a fan of the lack of grenade and armor set and wish patterns weren't in the Warbonds, but it is what it is. I'd also usually try and mix up footage between both fronts, but this Warbond is way more bugs leaning and I wouldn't use any of these weapons against the bots. But I'm going to end this video here, so if you did enjoy, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Also stay for some highlights, I need that plus 8 minutes, thank you very much, bye.
I got the terminal! Charging in an eagle! Canister's empty! Tactical asset near your location. Canister's empty. Have a taste of democracy. Canister's empty. Get some! Get some! Canister's empty. For Super Earth!
Requesting orbital strike.
Get some! Get some!